Tammy says her boyfriend John's 10-year-old daughter approached her 3 years ago with allegations that he had sexually abused her.
No!
And after the young girl explained in graphic detail what John did to her, Tammy left him. But she never gave up on his daughter. Tammy says she took the little girl to get help, and even more allegations were revealed. And according to John, the state immediately took custody of his daughter, and he had no choice but to sign over his rights. But Tammy called my show when she found paperwork stating otherwise. She believes that John did not cooperate with authorities and fled the state to avoid an investigation.
Good parents should never terminate their rights.
If you fail, will you agree to be escorted by one of my security guards and turn yourself in?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yo,
she said, yes, actually, my daddy did touch me because we play the same. Dad called the same.
Yo.
He said to her, if you tell anybody, then I'll kill.
That piece of worthless crap does not get to speak for my niece.
You are now raising the little girl.
Yes. This woman that says she's an advocate for my niece called my mom and I for 3 weeks straight and said, I think he's molesting her. I think he's molesting her.
Did you ever molest your daughter?
No, I did not.
Did you ever threaten to kill her?
No.
So you did nothing wrong.
I did nothing wrong.
They gave you every chance to get your daughter back, and you didn't take any of them. That's not the actions of an innocent man.
Still right. And he walked off the stage.
Come on, John, fight for your daughter. Here's your chance. Fight for your daughter.
I'm sure not afraid of you, and I'm sure not afraid of her. I didn't do it.
Why are you charging her?
I didn't do nothing. It's my daughter.
Yo, chat, drop them comments right now. Do y'all think he guilty or do you think he innocent? Just because he walked off stage and he did not fight for his daughter, I'm gonna go ahead and say he guilty. No way in hell I'm terminating my rights to see my kid under no circumstances. A good parent never does that.
John's daughter came to me and had alleged that her father had sexually abused her. And her mother passed away when she was about 5 or 6. Man. And she was like really reclusive, really, you know, shy. And
my heart hurts for her already.
It took me and my daughter quite some time to finally gain her trust. And when we did, it's just like she blossomed into this child that was like night and day. And she started calling me mom, and my daughter her sister. And so we were very close. And I need closure. This man still wants to get married and everything else, and I'm just like, how can I marry somebody if I don't know the truth?
So you're still with John?
We've sort of been off and on because I'm on the fence. I mean, in one way it may look bad, but in another way I don't want to accuse him, you know, like outright and go, oh yeah, I'm done with you because of this reason. But at the same time, I'm here for the child.
How did you meet John?
Through a chat line.
On a chat line?
Yes.
Chat line.
Before John was accused of molesting his then 10-year-old daughter, did he have any other allegations against him?
Initially not, to my knowledge, no. But that's stuff that I found out later on.
What did you find out?
Through paperwork. I went and did my own investigating and going through his personal belongings because I felt he was lying to me and wouldn't tell me the truth. And I found out that there was several of his exes that had accused him of molesting his daughter. And
if you find that shit, how is that not proof enough to make you leave? I feel like she just want to be with somebody because she can't find somebody.
And they had stalking orders and everything else against him and restraining orders.
So it's not just this one young girl, his daughter. These are allegations from other people too. It's
hard to make tales of it because it was not, like sporadic paperwork.
You saw the paperwork,
I would assume it was either his
though.
daughter or possibly other children. I'm not sure.
And how did you find out about the accusation that John was molesting his daughter?
After him and I, you know, met and we were together, she started acting out, you know, touching herself, and, you know, I was just like, this is like a red flag for me. I'm like, oh my God, you know. And so I asked her, I said, honey, has anybody ever touched you? And she said no. She was very adamant about that. And so the behavior continued. I addressed John about the situation, and he said that there was a gentleman that his ex was involved with that sort of resembled him, and that basically had a goatee, had this and that. And so it's like, okay, did you do anything about that? And he said, well, I did address it, but the people were in cahoots or whatever with my ex. And so I was just like, well, that still is a red
So
flag.
you did notice signs of sexual abuse in the girl before anything was brought to your attention.
Correct.
That's crazy
Okay.
work.
Did the girl
And you
open up
still
to you?
stayed.
She finally did, Steve. She, after that, she continued with behavior outbursts, you know, just angry.
But what did she say that happened to her?
When I questioned her again, she said, yes, actually, my daddy did touch me. She said that her dad, in graphic detail, she said that how it would start is we play the sex game, dad called the sex game.
Wow.
And he would put in a pornographic movie when people weren't around. And would basically touch her privates while this pornographic stuff's going on. And it was called the sex game. And he would reward her with candy and take her to the store and get her candy.
And she still stayed with this guy. I have no sympathy for her at all. Iguana neck.
Did he threaten her in any way?
He said to her, if you tell anybody, then I'll kill you. And that is what she said.
When you heard this story, did you confront John?
Yes, I did.
And what did he say about it? I mean, it's pretty graphic that a 10-year-old would
Say some shit like that.
make up a story like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty hard to make up.
Facts.
Exactly.
So when you confront John with what his daughter said, how did he respond?
He was actually really angry. He was like, well, you know, I wouldn't do anything like that to my child. And I said, well, no, that I don't know that. And so he said, well, bring her out, because she was in a room. And he said, well, bring her out. And so I brought her out, you know. And I said, so you said that your dad did these things to you. And I said, is this true? And she says, yes, it is. And he said, no, it isn't. You're lying. He got really angry at her and screaming at her. And she was like, yes, you did, Daddy. And she was crying.
I'm with Steve on this one. You see how Steve looking at the audience like, yeah, I don't feel bad for this one. I don't either, because she saw that and she still stayed. Why do people still stay? You should love yourself enough not to fall in love with a monster.
So adamant about it. I mean, looking at this guy, it's
And
like...
what did you do after this scene?
After that happened, I made him give me a temporary order thing to give me like a guardianship or something so I could actually legally do stuff. And my daughter and myself, because she was really close to my daughter too, we took her to this place for behavioral purposes and stuff, and that's what I told John I was doing. And basically, after she got there, a bunch of other things came out, and that's when the state stepped in and basically said she was a child in need of aid, and they took her from him. And me too.
How long after she had been there
acting
did
on
they
the red flags, though?
make that declaration?
Oh wow, it was like almost instantaneously. They pretty
Instantaneously?
much yeah,
Yeah.
they did. They were like she
Must have been some pretty bad stuff coming out if they did that instantaneously.
yeah.
What happens after that?
Basically, they got an attorney for him, and he was supposed to be working with them to try to figure out what was going on. And they did tell him that if he was found guilty, he could be facing 99 years to life for everything that he had done to her. And basically, he had like a I don't know how you say it, like a thing where he had to go to do certain things, like talk to people or do a sex offenders, whatever type thing.
They gave him a list of requirements to do.
Right.
Did he cooperate?
No. And
Why didn't he cooperate?
he said he did. He told me that he did. And once again, documentation I had to find out on my own and I found out that the attorney and everybody that was involved for him on his behalf was saying that he was completely uncooperative.
So she's in this behavioral place, and what are you and John doing?
I got a restraining order against him.
What's up, chat? I just want to say I'm loving the community that we building. The vibe is definitely right. And I want to give a special shout out to Johnny Martin, the second OG member on our YouTube. I'm very, very thankful to have people like this in my corner that take time out of their life to support a dream that I have. I'm very much thankful for you guys. I love all of you guys. I read every comment that you guys post, and I try to get back to y'all as quickly as I can when life is not lifing. But I just want to give a special shout out to Johnny Martin, big OG member. You know, I never thought this shit would have took off the way it did at the rate that it did. Everything is just happening so fast, y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Okay.
And I made him leave.
Good job. Because I thought you didn't do shit.
And then what happened?
After that, he basically wouldn't cooperate, I guess, with the people, and he ended up leaving state, and
Where did he go?
he came back to Oregon.
He came back. Oh. Is John still with you?
Him and I had seen each other, yes. And the reason, Steve,
Are you living together?
right now?
No, when you go back to Oregon, were you living together?
We were around each other.
Wow.
I wouldn't say we were living together.
What does that mean?
That means I'm trying to keep him close because I want to get to the bottom of this.
Okay, okay. Hold
Enemies.
on. Were you still sleeping with them?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Knowing that you're both in Oregon, you knew he can't cooperate if he's not in Alaska, where you fled. Okay. What does John say about his daughter now?
What does he say about her?
Yeah, I mean, he's never gotten her back, right?
No.
She was 10 years old. You drop her off at a behavioral science place. Have you ever seen her since you dropped her off?
No. Because,
You've never seen her either?
No, because
You've never seen her? The dad's never seen her? You're going to tell me, like, someday, like today, I go home, drop my daughter at some place, and the next 3 years, I never see her again?
That's crazy work, bro.
Why? Like, oh my God, he says he didn't do it. How come he's not fighting and doing everything he can to get his daughter back?
Exactly.
That's how I feel. I would have never gave up my rights, bro, at all.
See, the problem I have with this story is, what father who loses the mother of his child just abandons his child and does nothing to get her back? Though that's not the actions of an innocent man.
No.
Who wanted to do the show today?
He had called recently in January to do the show. I had called a year ago to do the show, and he had said that we were going to come here and do this, and I wanted answers then. And he lied and said he had a brain tumor and couldn't come on the show, so they said we can't do it. They were going to buy tickets and everything.
And then it turns out he didn't have a brain tumor.
Correct.
Dude, this guy's lying about everything.
Story has made my staff, who deals with this all the time, this story has made everybody sick. You know, I know you're saying you're being an advocate for a child. I personally don't see it.
Facts.
I see, listen, I see a woman that a lot of women, they're being selfish and they stay with the guy instead of doing the right thing for their own physical and emotional needs. I always say these with these child molestations. I hope he passes because, God forbid, this happened to a child. I get this very nauseating feeling in my stomach right now that probably did do it, fled the state, because that's what most of these guys, most child molesters, that's how they slip through the cracks. People that want to raise their children and be involved that didn't do anything.
Boy, get your weak ass on.
They don't flee. I'm going to ask you to leave the stage and we'll bring you back out for John's results.
Okay.
Is somebody beating up my stage?
It's crazy.
The woman who has helped raise John's daughter for the last 3 years asked to be here today to speak on behalf of her niece, who she says has been greatly impacted for the rest of her life because of what her father did to her growing up. Here is Aunt Tammy.
I already know Aunt Tammy about to keep it gangster.
That piece of worthless crap does not get to speak for my niece.
Straight up.
Or that little psycho child molester that's back there.
The one that's so upset that he's beating up my stage. You are now raising the little girl.
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you tell me about this story?
John was married to my youngest sister. I never liked him from the very beginning, never trusted him. Shortly before they got married, one of his ex-girlfriends had come to me and said that I needed to warn my sister to be careful with her children because her children had made allegations that he had touched them.
Wow.
I thought at first it's just a disgruntled ex. Then I started hanging around with John. And the more and more I did, the less and less I trusted him. They had a very volatile relationship.
She
They
looked
split up.
sick of him.
My sister had to call me several times to go and get her and the kids. My sister was diagnosed with leukemia. She fought it for a year. During that time, they were doing custody exchanges. He had visitation with his daughter every other weekend. When my sister got really ill, she had to go to another city to get better treatment. At that point in time, I was doing the custody exchanges for her because she was sick. We would exchange at the sheriff's department. There were several times, one in particular, we had to call the police out to come out and take him out of the truck to get his daughter out of the truck, which was extremely traumatic.
Don't let him break your concentration.
My sister, when she had to go to another city to get treatment, had gotten a custody change to where he would only get her certain weeks out of the summer because it wasn't feasible for her to bring her every other weekend. He refused to take it. So he went almost 2 years without seeing his daughter.
Wow.
When my sister passed away in 2007 on Easter Sunday,
Oh, man.
the next morning, John showed up at my mother's house with the police to get his daughter. I had to rush to my mom's, and I had to go into the house, and I had to pull my 6-year-old niece out of the closet because she was screaming. She didn't want to go with him.
Oh, man.
I had to walk her out of the house and physically hand her over to the cops. We didn't see her for a year. He wouldn't let us see her. This woman that says she's an advocate for my niece called my mom and I for 3 weeks straight and said, I think he's molesting her. I think he's molesting her. And we kept saying, please take her in. Please take her in. About 3.5 weeks later, I get a phone call from a detective from where they were living that my niece is locked up in a behavioral institute because Tammy took her there and dropped her off and walked away.
Wow, so she didn't
My
even
mom and I
advocate for
fought
her.
every single day to get her back.
She got rid of the little girl so she could be with him. She's out of her mind, bro.
Any chance at all that John is innocent of molesting his daughter?
My niece has looked at me in the eyes and said that's what happened, and I'm going to be behind her 100% the rest of her life.
Me and my subscribers behind her, too. He's weird.
You've never able to confront John, right?
No, actually, the one time I did see him in our town, somebody held me back. They wouldn't let me.
Which is probably a good thing because hopefully somewhere down the line, John will meet the police and, you know, can give his side of the story. Let's bring out John.
Boo! And he trying to brace up to that woman. Look.
You know what? I didn't do it.
Why are you charging her?
Because,
Why are you
you know
charging
what?
her? She's
Because-
a woman. Talk.
I didn't do nothing to my daughter.
I didn't
My
do
daughter was in
nothing.
a better place with me than she
Place with
ever
me.
had.
Right.
She was beating my daughter.
Oh,
Don't charge her.
your daughter was never beaten. The only person that's ever abused your child
Just
is
talk,
you.
just talk.
No. You know what? She was beaten by freaking was with your sister.
You don't even
molested.
mention my sister's name. Not what the hell you put her through.
Okay, let me ask you a few questions, John. You're with, this is Aunt Tammy, but you're with the woman that was on stage first, Tammy, and Tammy believed that you were molesting your daughter. And she called Aunt Tammy and her mom and said, hey, I believe that John is molesting a little girl. They said, hey, you better do something, better turn her in, and, you know, she did. You both, she drops her off at this behavioral science place or whatever it is, and now you've never seen her again, right?
Because I didn't know where she was at.
Okay, but
No one ever told me where she was at.
You couldn't. Hold on. You didn't ask Tammy, hey, show me where you dropped my daughter off?
Yeah, I asked Tammy where she dropped my daughter off. I called there, and they would not let me talk to her.
Man, that boy sound bad. And he looked like something out the Lord of the Rings.
So you didn't show up there and say, I demand to speak to my daughter?
I couldn't go there because the state of Alaska said that I couldn't.
What? So what? Before this is all, one day she's living with you, the next day she's not. So the next day you didn't go down there and say, I want to talk to my daughter?
Facts. The fuck wrong with
I
him?
couldn't because the state of Alaska said they had me arrested.
The next day they called you up, they sent you a letter. What did they do, John?
They called me up and said
And they said, you better not show up where your daughter's at.
Yeah.
And you said what? Okay.
And I said, okay, because they'll have me arrested.
You're afraid of being arrested?
What am I supposed to do?
Are you afraid of being arrested?
No, I'm not afraid of being arrested.
Well, then why wouldn't you show up for your daughter?
Straight up. Like, what the hell? You got something to hide.
Because they told me not to show up on the premises.
Your daughter of 10 years.
They told me not to try to contact.
Did you ever molest your daughter?
No, I did not.
So you did nothing wrong?
I did nothing wrong.
And so you haven't seen your daughter in 3 years and you've done nothing wrong?
Because I don't know where she's at.
You don't know where she's at?
No, they wouldn't tell me where she's at.
Do you know where she lives?
Do I know where she lives? Yeah, now.
She's raising your daughter.
Well, now I know it.
And now what are you going to do about it?
Now I'm going to try to see my daughter.
What?
No, not
Why
ever.
are you here today?
Because I'm trying to prove my innocence.
Yeah. So you took a lie detector test?
Yes, I did.
Okay. After this happened, after these accusations came out, you left the state that you were in, right?
Because I had nowhere to live.
But you left.
Yeah.
And you,
I was in the snowing in Alaska.
Okay.
It snows there.
Snow here in Connecticut, you know.
Try living out of a tent.
This is from the state that you fled, by the way. John's case plan included staying in regular contact with the department, providing updated changes in contact. They were telling you this is what you need to do, but you didn't do anything. Repeated attempts to contact John went unheeded, and until ultimately a court order was entered authorizing the child to receive medical treatment she needed. Your refusal to participate
Yeah, the state
his
is
daughter
lying,
was
and I'll
moved to
tell you
a
that.
foster home. On November 2nd, 2011, court
I
ordered
was
John to
freaking
appear in court,
cooperating.
and you fled the state, abandoning his daughter and failed to appear. The caseworkers continued to reach out to you, John, in which most of the time you wouldn't even answer your phone or cooperate or give any kind of information.
I didn't get phone calls. I had very critical reception
You
up there.
refused to participate in court proceedings, provide an address, assist with your daughter's benefits, either in person or on the telephone. The aunt called in and said she saw you in the state that she lives in. So, you know, they did everything they could.
She saw me in the
They
state.
gave you every chance to get your daughter back, and you didn't take any of them. Okay, hold on. Why would you use such a foul word towards your own flesh and blood?
Because I was angry.
What were you angry about?
Because of what she said when I went through 3 years. 3 years of the nightmares of the stupid idiot that went ahead.
The 3 years that you went through.
My daughter.
Okay. Well, by the way, who she says was you.
No, it was not me. She's got me mixed up with another person that her sister was with.
Sure. She got her own father mixed up with somebody else.
Yeah, because
Man, ain't no way.
But then the father who didn't fight
That's usually what he does.
Are you going to backstage, John? Come on, John, fight for your daughter. Here's your chance. Fight for your daughter.
Get your
I'm
ass
sure
back
not
out
afraid
here.
of you, and I'm sure not afraid of her. And I'm sure not afraid of the audience.
Okay, hold on. What are you doing to find your daughter? What have you done to find your daughter?
What have I done to find my daughter?
What have you done to find your daughter?
I asked them where she was at. And
Bro repeating the question to himself because he don't have an answer in his head.
they
asked
would not
who?
tell me.
You asked who?
State of Alaska.
Yeah, and where were you asking from, John?
I asked the
Where
freaking...
were you asking from?
I asked my
Where
attorney.
were you asking
I asked
from?
freaking DHS.
Where were you asking from?
I asked the freaking...
Where were you asking from?
When I was here.
If you were really trying to find your daughter in Alaska, wouldn't it be good if you were in Alaska?
Right?
It was crazy. I had a tent.
Oh, okay.
Right.
It was cold in Alaska. I couldn't go to Alaska because it was cold. I haven't seen my daughter in 3 years, but it's cold in Alaska. If it was warm, I'd go find my daughter.
That's crazy work.
When it's 32 below and it's snowing and there's freaking lots of snow.
And how do you know you're... Oh, great. That's a good point. It's 32 below and there's lots of snow. Do you know if your daughter's being cared for, treated right? Do you know if somebody's taking good care of your daughter? Do you know
I
that?
didn't know.
No, you don't know.
They wouldn't
you
tell me.
You don't know.
They wouldn't
That's right.
tell me.
She could be still being abused. She could be frozen. She could be sick. But you don't know because you won't find her.
They wouldn't tell me.
What has she gone through the last 3 years, John? You say, oh, it's so horrible for you. How bad is it for her?
I feel like they shouldn't have to tell you where she is. You should be trying to figure that shit out, bro.
Comes down to a simple question with you, John. Regarding your daughter, did you sexually molest her? You answered no, and the results for your lie detector test is you did not tell the truth.
See, we knew that. We knew that. And was she trying to act like she want to do something for you? You was just in his bed last night. Now look at her.
You're not surprised, are you, Tammy? You're not surprised. That's probably the result we've ever had on the show.
Now look at her.
Are you ready for your trip? And I'll even get your winter coat.
Steve didn't go transport him to the police department.
Story like this, I normally kick the guy off the stage and throw a chair. But he's willing to cooperate. So now you're willing to go to Alaska, right? And turn yourself in?
Fun.
You're going to do that, right? What a way to end the show. Now, with one of my security guys, get the hell off my stage.
Yeah, bro gonna try to run. Bro is not going to jail. Bro gonna try to flee.
I got
He gonna try to stay.
Hold on. Okay. All right. Tammy, you made some mistakes.
Yes, I did.
You made You want to make amends. Then when he goes back to Alaska, you cooperate. You get in touch. You cooperate with authorities. You tell them everything you know, and you make sure that son of a bitch goes to prison.
Straight up, man. Steve cooked.